Hytale have just released some crazy information about the new biomes, the free doorway game modes, and most importantly, they leaked the release date of Hytale. So don't miss out because this is huge news and I can't wait to share it with you. So first off, Hytale has officially announced the 3 different game modes they will be adding. They initially described the game modes as pillars, but now advise us to look at these game modes as doorways. The first doorway on the left is known as creative play. Here you can spin up custom procedurally generated worlds and experience them as an adventurer, a creator, or something in between. You can install mods and take advantage of a diversity of blocks and prefab styles to change the look and feel of the game. They go on to state a player who starts out building with blocks might graduate to more advanced building tools, which I have more on that later, before branching out into scripting, asset creation or animation using tools that are powerful enough to fulfill the needs of professional modders, while still offering accessible entry points to newcomers. The door in the middle leads to Hytale's first party online component. Now this is an evolution of the traditional Hypixel social play and minigames experience. This is where players gather in a shared hub space to show off their achievements across the breadth of the game, compete in the latest minigames, and experience themselves through both their avatar and their creations. Hytale think in many ways that this is the heart of Hytale, a collective environment for the whole community to come together. They're working to pack it with activities, events, and interactions to surprise and delight players. And last but not least, the door on the right leads to Orbis. Unlike the custom worlds that players generate for themselves as part of creative play, Orbis is a curated experience in which they've carefully crafted to offer a meaningful challenge and narrative experience for players, while taking advantage of random terrain generation and structures to ensure a diverse and interesting experience. So as we've learnt from previous Hytale updates, you have a huge variety when it comes to designing your players in Hytale. This character you control is confirmed to be a unique creative being known as an avatar. Now these avatars all have individual personalities which allow them to focus creative energy into something, from simple contraptions to entire worlds. What's interesting is every part of the game reflects a different aspect of life as an avatar, and the power of an avatar varies according to the domain they find themselves in. So for example, they are the most powerful when they are in their own world. But on top of this, there will be community servers which also determine your personality, and the spaces that your avatar shares also reflect its personalities. Here we can see an actual screenshot of a community server Hytale tweeted out, where they said, "Our mission is to empower players to celebrate themselves and their communities through their characters, spaces and experience they create for one another. Everyone is welcome in Hytale." But more importantly in Hytale, many avatars are drawn to the world of Orbis, which is a world that has lost its avatar under mysterious circumstances. When your avatar steps through the right door and arrives on Orbis, they find themselves starting from scratch, having to develop practical skills to survive, establish themselves, and ultimately uncover the secrets of the vibrant, storied world. And speaking of which, let's take a look at all the new leaked screenshots of the Hytale world. The level design team has been hard at work over the last year, undertaking a thorough re-evaluation of the biomes and landscapes of the Orbis. Hytale are extremely proud of the world generation and are taking advantage of the additional time that they're taking with the game to ensure that every part of Orbis feels meaningful. These are some of the thumbnail concepts from Orbis's coldest regions, which I personally think look amazing. This misty forest demonstrates it can start to introduce colder elements into regions that might flow naturally from warmer, more temperate areas. The low-lying mist and drifting ice floats let you know what you're in for if you keep moving upstream. Even in the snowiest areas, there are pockets of warmth, as this concept for a hot springs biome shows. And here's that same biome in-game with the use of custom VFX to help them create the sense that there's hot water bubbling away just underneath the surface. And now we move into a much more extreme environment, as this concept illustrates. In the coldest regions, snow gives way to blocks of sheer, jagged ice, as the environment becomes more fantastical. Here's the frosty biome again, brought to life in-game. This is a good demonstration of how the landscape plays a role in establishing the challenge level of an area. This concept takes a different spin on the idea of a fantastical frozen landscape, imagining a series of colossal waves flash frozen at the moment they crested the surface of an icy sea. And here's a prototype of a biome built on these principles. They want to mix in moments of wonder like this to ensure there's always something new to discover as players press further and further into the wilds of Abyss. And on the other hand, in a much warmer region, these salt flat concepts show one of the ways that they're trying to add diversity and interest to Orbis's hottest regions. The red rocks and white sands help set the area apart, while the coral-like vegetation suggests that this region might once have been underwater. And this is the initial pass at World Gen for this new biome. As you can see, it comprises both highly exposed barren plateaus and winding canyons with many caves and outcrops. Each possess their own danger and players will want to equip themselves accordingly. The team at Hytale have worked extremely hard on evolving the way visual effects play a role in the game to set the mood. They've been expanding the arsenal of particle effects and related techniques. These are proving to be a powerful tool when it comes to adding detail, atmosphere and personality to every part of Hytale, from special weapon attacks to magic to environmental effects and more. They're going to continue to invest in visual effects research as a way to add immersive spectacle to Hytale while returning its lo-fi stylings. And in this clip you can see an example of the new visual effects applied to an older dungeon environment, providing a much spookier and more compelling atmosphere. This is a screenshot of a pair of ruined buildings surrounded by a partially destroyed curtain wall and flanked by chasms of molten lava. Now this was created solely with the advanced creator tools and techniques Hytale have been working on over the last year. This is a very unique way to make building in Hytale so much more interesting, by adding much more depth to creative builds using the new toolkit. Within the new toolkit you can find options to duplicate builds, rotate designs, use brushes where you can script builds to perform custom build operations, and finally use brushes to literally paint pathways with blocks. Hytale promised to continually improve and expand this toolkit to make it one of the best ever created. In the Winter 2021 development update, Hytale explained they made the decision to redevelop Hytale's engine, both the client and the server, in C++. Doing this provides several major benefits. For a start, it makes it easier for the team to release Hytale across multiple platforms, which is great as they wish to avoid a situation where the community finds themselves split. Also, performance will be significantly improved, and it will make it easier to patch and maintain the game in the future. This leaves future players extremely concerned about this choice, as they realise with this decision, Hytale could be postponed even further than expected. However, the team believe this is the right choice, as they want to make the game as great as they possibly can. The happiness of both players and creators is vital to Hytale's long-term success. We want to ensure that players enjoy a game that performs well, is widely accessible, and make it as easy as possible for them to play with their friends wherever they are, however they play games. Creators in turn require an audience for their creations. Modding and other forms of content creation isn't a niche aspect of Hytale, to be encountered only on certain versions or in certain circumstances. It is a core part of the experience, and we want to ensure that we're providing creators with the best possible ecosystem, one where their work can be encountered by any player. Our previous engine was built at a time when we had fewer resources and we hadn't yet come to terms with the scope of what we were trying to achieve with Hytale. Over the last year it became clear that if we kept going as we were, we would hit a range of technical challenges in areas like scaling, compatibility, and the speed at which we could deliver patches and updates. It would also have been untenable to support a number of popular platforms without creating specific versions of the game for each of them, which would be a huge amount of work, and those players would find themselves unable to play or share their creations with friends on the core version of the game. The team at Hytale began with just 30 members, consisting of a team of indie devs and modders. Today though, there's over 100 of them, all working to release the game on time. So does the fact that the team are redeveloping the whole engine and client change the timeline for Hytale's release? Well, Hytale actually answered this, stating, "It definitely has an impact, but the redevelopment of the engine is proceeding quickly and we're hitting our initial milestones. However, the game will not be ready to launch in 2023, which was the earliest possible launch window we outlined last year. It's inevitable that this news provokes mixed emotions. We're very confident that we're doing the right thing for the game and our players, but we also know that our community has been patiently waiting for Hytale for a long time. We sympathise, it has been a long road for us too, with many rewarding moments but also many difficult decisions. So although we won't be getting Hytale till at least the earliest 2024, are you still excited for the game? And what's your opinion on Hytale postponing the game again?"